So here we have the dynamic light room. And yes, I need to flag that view model to not cast a shadow. So there's basically 3 projected textures going on. We have a projected skybox cube and 2 spotlights, the same one that we use for the flashlight. They're parented to this funk train here. Maybe I don't have cheats one. Yep, I don't have cheats one. And you can actually use the input-output system to toggle between multiple environment maps to choose from. Yes, and you can do this many times. Meanwhile, like, there's no static lights here. This is all dynamic lights showing off light styles. So this is a bit of our test map to stress test D-lights. And I use portion of the map to actually use here in the Funk Monitor test map, which is just a small room that's kind of split off here. And it's in another entirely PVS, but because of the tricks we do, we can actually make it render here through a render target. And yes, you can also pause them, just kind of stare at them. This is what a wireframe view is like. So it's just a texture, you know. It's all rendered to texture. And then we have the PBR showcase. So this is showcasing physically based rendering. And physically based rendering is the technique that a lot of modern games use to kind of do specularity and reflections. It still uses an diffuse and albedo map. It uses a normal map still too. Same formats that we always were used to. It's just trying to calculate it in a way that's more accurate to how actual specularity would be calculated, I guess you could say. And so we've got like these, wow, tiled floors, and you've got like the veneer finish type planks. I didn't make those materials. These came from a website called cc0assets.com, and they are public domain. Very good for me trying to just test these. Look at that marble floor and how it kind of warps when light hits it differently. And here's like a very Deus Ex, Human Revolution, Mankind Divided looking metal pattern I thought really appealing. And that's a leather sofa texture. I can actually increase the Fresnel to be more crazy. So this is the non-cube map, because the reflections which you'll see here actually cube map reflections. But this stuff is some specular highlight. And you can kind of add a multiplier to that by adjusting the Fresnel depending on what you're looking for. Anyway, so that's physically based rendering on light mapped geometry. I might have some more interesting test maps for you to show. Well, there's the HDR one. So obviously FTE supports real HDR output of the monitor, but it doesn't do what Half-Life 2 or the Source Engine refers to as HDR, which all it is just tone mapping, aka iris adaptation. So you go from one area, which is well lit, right, into the dark, and then your iris adapts, and you can actually see better in the dark. And you can see what that does to lighting outside. It just kind of really amplifies it until you get out and lighting adjusts. And something that you don't really see in this map, but there's actually 3 skyboxes going on, and I interpolate between the different exposures of the skybox, so that you have to create because of the lack of precision in single textures, there's no way to really make, especially because skybox is where all the sunlight comes from, and so it kind of goes through a few different exposures. Maybe I can find the sky room and show it to you, but it's a bit it's a bit tough right now, especially for this video. So let's see, sun, yeah, everyone's seen the sun one. Trigger camera, oh yeah. So more entity work is being done on like classic Half-Life entities. But you know, that's all just boring stuff, right? Anyway, that's just what I've been working on. Obviously, most changes are not really visible because they're like functional changes. They're mechanical changes. How does something move? How does something behave? The AI, scripted sequences. You know, I can like boot into C1A3 right now. Maybe not right now, but let's see. And it all works. Except for this. They might actually start attacking each other in a second. Which is really funny. If it does happen.